Safe. Not messing around.
So in this barren spell for games, which is the summertime, we finally have something worth playing, and that is Uncharted Lost Legacy, which of course is exclusive to the PS4. I don't know why anyone would buy an Xbox these days. It seems like they get no exclusive games. But anyway, I just wanted to make a video on my impressions of what I've played initially. So this is a sort of sequel to Uncharted 4, even though it's not really tied directly to it and doesn't follow most of the same characters. It's basically a new standalone game from Naughty Dog, which you can pick up even if you haven't played any of the other Uncharted games. So how it does tie into the series is that you play as Chloe Fraser, who is Nate's ex-girlfriend from Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3, who teams up with Nadine Ross, who is the antagonist from Uncharted 4. Together, the pair have teamed up to hunt down a treasure in India called Ganesha's Tusk. But of course, in traditional Uncharted fashion, you're not the only ones after this treasure, with a sort of fanatical Indian paramilitary groups also searching for the Tusk to fuel their own fight in India.
Are you looking for work? I hear that Shoreline's under new management.
Temporary setback. Nothing I can't handle.
Of course. Pidgey, though. My men and I could use someone of your caliber.
Now, I am going to be spoiling part of maybe the first hour of the game, so if you want to go in fresh, don't listen to this video. But anyway, my initial impressions are, first off, it's a lot, I guess, darker than anything you've seen in Uncharted before, especially the first opening 40 minutes where you're going through a war-torn city. You see people being beaten up by various soldiers, you see a massive airstrike. You probably saw it in the PSX demo they debuted a couple months ago. But for what I played in the opening, it is a lot darker than anything you find in the other Uncharted games. It reminds me a bit more of The Last of Us. And it even delved into some more adult themes, with Chloe being sort of sexually harassed in one part, but it never gets to its conclusion because the soldiers get distracted and she sneaks away.
Yes, sir.
I guess I don't have a choice.
Hey, hold on. What's your rush? How do I know you're not smuggling something in here? Arms up.
Hey.
It's dangerous to be out so late.
Hey! Where do you live? What are you, deaf? Answer him! I said, where do you live?
Arabtazon.
I'm in the middle of something.
You can wait.
Yes, sir.
Meet me inside.
Understood. You, with me. Man the gun.
Sir, what about her?
Just let her through.
You heard him. Get going.
But I respect Naughty Dog doing this, because I remember Tomb Raider did it in the first rebooted Tomb Raider game, and there was a massive outcry about how it was sexist, all this bullshit. But yeah, I liked it. It just makes the world more realistic. So eventually you meet up with Nadine, and you find out that you two have teamed up to find this treasure, and she's sort of the protection against this paramilitary group. And if you've played Uncharted 4, you know Nadine isn't the nicest person, and if you played Uncharted 2 and 3, you know Chloe is a bit more like Nathan Drake, happy-go-lucky, wisecracking. So it's fun to see these two interact. The banter is actually really good, and that's always a strong suit of the Uncharted games.
Refreshing. Could have warned me. Oh, where's the fun in that?
It's just a fun partnership to really watch. I'm looking forward to going through the rest of the game with these two characters. In terms of gameplay, you're not really getting much new here from Uncharted 4, but it is kind of cool that Chloe handles a lot different from Nathan, or her animations at least are a lot different. So when she's fighting, unlike being more of a boxer like Nathan Drake, she's more of a kickboxer or martial artist, like throwing various kicks into her fighting style. She's a lot more agile. I would really compare her and Nathan to Batman and Catwoman, because she's also a lot faster in the sequences where you run. So it does a good job in making you feel like you're playing someone different while remaining similar to the mechanics you like from Uncharted 4. It also it borrows many of the other fun things like the rope or the grapple. I think it's a grapple hook and the car with the winch. So all of that's in it for good measure, and it doesn't change too much. So it's not a real sequel, but does a good job at making you feel a little bit different. The best thing about the game so far is probably the relationship between Chloe and Nadine, and I like what Naughty Dog have done. Nadine is basically the placeholder for the player, since she's not really into all the archaeological stuff and the history of India like Chloe is. So when Chloe will talk about a Hindu myth or some Indian history, Nadine will normally not understand it, forcing Chloe to explain it. So it's a nice way to do exposition in a really natural way, but Nadine is still her own character, and she still sort of has her own opinions about stuff. She doesn't always think it's interesting, and she doesn't always get along with Chloe. So it's just quite a good dynamic that the two have, and I'm interested to see where it goes later.
How much do you think it's all worth?
Enough to keep his little insurrection going for quite some time. Indian Christian.
Is that it?
No, just looking.
It doesn't bother you. These are all Indian artifacts.
It's not my fight.
I also like the subtle references to the other Uncharted games. I won't mention too many to not to spoil anything, but Nadine says to Chloe, the last person who double-crossed me ended up dead. Of course, you're talking about Wraith at the end of Uncharted 4, but I'm hoping that maybe some other characters from Uncharted show up. It's perfect, since I think it's set a year after Uncharted 4, it's perfect for Sam and Sully to come into this game in a natural way. In terms of graphics, this looks just as good as Uncharted 4, if not better, and I really like the little details they have put in having a woman character. So, for example, when Chloe gets quite sweaty, strands of her hair will stick to her neck and to her head, and it's quite a nice animation that Drake never had because his hair wasn't that long. And also, her and Nadine's hair is actually really frizzy because of how hot it is in India. I also like the sweat animation. It sounds kind of weird, but there's sweat on their chests, backs, and under their arms, which I don't think Drake really had that much. I'm pretty sure that he only had a bit like by his chest in Uncharted 4, so it is a step up in terms of animation. Overall, if you've never played Uncharted or you've played them all, this is really like a no-brainer to buy. It's more of what you like, exploring the relationship with two other characters who were interested in other games, but they weren't entirely fleshed out. It's got everything you really like from Uncharted 4, the exploration, the jeep drive, and the shooting, and it's also at budget price at only £25 in the UK, so you can't really have an excuse not to buy it. It's AAA quality, it's the writing's great, everything you expect from a Naughty Dog game, and I'm looking forward to finishing it, and I just hope it continues being as good as it already is, because I'm really enjoying it so far.